I speak to Edem Agbana. He was a former national officer of the party who decided not to seek re-election. I went to Ketu North and pulled that surprise that he pulled yesterday on Saturday. Edem, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you so much, Umaru, and let me say good evening to our cherished listeners across the country, especially to the good people of Ketu North, who I'm sure are monitoring development keenly.
Now, the regional secretary of your party has just given an account of what transpired on Saturday. Do you agree with his account of events?
Sandra, let me begin by first apologizing to all the senior comrades of the party and elders of the party who have asked me not to speak in the media until after the final resolution of the issue, because I had to agree. Initially, you called me, I turned down the interview, but I had to come in because I think it's important for us to set the record straight and do away with the false narratives. One, I am extremely disappointed that my regional secretary, who only a few hours ago issued a press statement calling on all parties involved to stop granting media interviews, is at the back right after sending that press statement out himself, is on air granting interviews and giving very false narratives about what happened in Ketu North. I am only making this point because it's important for us to set the record straight, and we need to fight for justice. I am doing this to protect the mandate of the good people of Ketu North. Sandra, I will go into the issues. One, I am surprised to hear the regional secretary say that the results as declared, that according to him, the results, the 358 that he's claiming is a tie, were signed by the agent. That is false. It's the blatant lie. Sandra, after the results were counted and recounted on 2 occasions, my agent signed against 350 and the other candidates all signed when the results was 350 and then 359, indicating that I had won. It was only after the signature was appended that the EC boss, on the instruction of the regional chairman and my constituency chairman, decided to check the so-called validity of the ballot papers. So what you see indicating 358, you could see clearly on the pink sheet, it was cancelled. Initially it was 360, cancelled. Then we had now 358. Now what we do with procedures is that just like you do when you make a mistake on a checkbook and a new figure is written, what do you do against it? You sign against that new figure to indicate that you agree to the change that was made to it. So look at the pink sheet that Mr. Gunu is referring to as being signed by my agent and see whether or not his signature is against the 358. The changes were made after my agent and all the other agents signed. You can speak to other candidates, speak to the other agents, and they will tell you at what point those signatures were appended to the pink sheet. And so I find it surprising that my regional secretary, who has asked us not to speak on the issue, is on air giving a false narrative. And I think it's important for us to set the record straight. My agent did not sign against a tie. My agent signed when the results was 350 and 359. That point must be well made. That is one. Two, Mr. Gunu also made the point that they, as a region, are only interested, or they will project what the electoral commission did a good job. Look, we have in a petition detailed out many of the things that the electoral commission did that proves that they did an abysmal job. So I am surprised that he, the regional secretary, even when people have expressed dissatisfaction with the process, is on air taking a biased position, claiming that he's satisfied with the work of the electoral commission. I think it's important for us to set the record straight. Look, elections are about the sensitivities of the people. We invested so much time and energy campaigning to the people. The National Party has indicated that they will sit on the matter. It is fair for us to give the National Party, all of us must be given a good hearing for us to make our point. I initially declined every interview, but I will speak as long as the regional secretary will continue giving very false narratives about what happened. Because look, nobody will allow himself to be cheated. And so, Sandra, ask him as regional secretary, at what point were the signatures appended to pink sheet before he is giving this false narrative.
Okay.
Let us not create a false perception out there, please.
Okay,
Please.
I'll ask him that. And just a quick question though. So how many times was the counting done at the center that you approved of?
The counting, as far as I know, the report I got was that the counting was done 3 times. And so the first counting was the usual or the normal count, after which the agent for Mr. Adanu demanded a recount of their ballot paper. That still came up to the 359, which was the original. Then they now demanded for counting of my ballot paper. My agent didn't agree, but they proceeded because the AC bosses were being intimidated by regional and constituency executives who were on them. That should tell you what happened. Now, when they recounted, I still got the 360, which means that I still won with only 1 vote. Then it was after the third counting that the agents appended their signature to the document. Then the EC boss was called back to say they are now going to check whether or not all the ballot papers were stamped before they were issued out. Then that is what has brought about all of this confusion that we have. I had agreed not to speak, but Sandra, please, let the regional secretary know that if we are talking about party discipline, you can't issue a statement asking the parties not to speak, then yet you will be on air giving very, very false narratives.
Okay.
We all love the party. None of us is bigger than the party. The interest of the NDC must remain supreme. But no individual should at any point in time feel that they can intimidate anybody because they hold certain key positions.
Okay.
Whatever he has said concerning the signatures is a blatant lie. And other agents, observers, media houses there can confirm. The recounting were even done live on national TV, for Christ's sake. What is all these false narratives and an attempt to lie through their seats to create an impression as if Edem is not agreeing to a tie, when indeed there was no tie.
Okay.
I had won the election. I stand by the position that I won. The regional secretary should please stay neutral and fair. The interference is too much. They should give the accurate reportage of what happened and stop lying about many of these things, please.
Finally, Edem, the information that came through to Accra was that when the ballot papers were inspected, you had 2 unstamped ballot papers and your opponent had 1 unstamped ballot paper. And that brought the 2 of you neck and neck. And that's why the EC made that declaration that there has to be a rerun because there was a tie. Do you not agree that the ballot papers were unstamped and that if they were unstamped, to the extent that they were unstamped, they become invalid, and for that matter, your votes were invalid?
Thunder, like I said, I only decided to speak to set the record straight on the things that the regional secretary said that are inaccurate. The other issues of whether ballot papers were stamped or were not stamped and all of that, they are issues that I have promised the leadership of the party not to speak on. But as far as I know, there was a confirmation of the serial numbers of all ballot papers. And all the parties agreed at that night that there was no importation of any foreign material into the ballot box. And that agreement is on record. We have videos, we have pictures, we have whatever it is to prove that indeed every party, everyone, every agent agreed that there was no foreign material. But like I said, I want to give the respect, the needed respect to the party structures. I will not comment on the substantive issue. But please, the regional secretary should stay fair and say the truth for once. Whatever they are doing, their biases and the false reportage must cease. You can't release a statement gagging us not to speak, and yet you are on air giving false narratives and expect us not to speak in response. It can't happen. We must do this to protect our internal democracy. We must do this to protect the mandate that the young people and the people of Ketu North have given me. We must do this to strengthen our internal democracy. Nobody should be allowed to interfere with an independent electoral process. Nobody is above the laws and nobody is bigger than the party. My regional secretary should get his facts right, because whatever he said concerning signatures and all of this are blatant falsehood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very well. Thank you so much. That's Edem Agbana.